Okay, we begin by pressing the bushings, or ferrules, some people call them, but mostly it's a bushing, into the peg holes. And if it won't go in with just your thumb, which it usually is pretty tight, you can use a nut driver. I use a small nut driver that barely fits around the diameter of it, and to protect the bushing I'll use a piece of cardstock, put over it, and then push downward, usually just with some finger pressure. It's plenty to get the thing to seat. I think that's in, so we'll do the remainder the same way. And last but not least, number 6. All of these bushings are now in place. You can see they're nice and flush with the surface. Next, we flip it over and start to install the tuners. First thing we do is make sure we have them in the correct order. The ones that have just one screw hole completely through go on the ends, and you'll be able to tell which goes on the bottom and which goes on the top. The 6th string or the 1st string, based on where the hole is. This one's obviously for the 6th string, so we'll place it in here, and likewise put the remainder of these tuners in the correct spots. There's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can see that they're all roughly lined up. And then all we have to do is put the screws in. Now if your screw holes haven't already been drilled, if you're buying an aftermarket neck, then you'll need to be very careful not to over drill. It's very easy to drill clear through the headstock, since this wood is fairly thin, as you can see. It's maybe a 1/2 inch, or just barely a little bit thicker than a 1/2 inch. So mark your drill, put a piece of tape around your drill, and try not to go much deeper than 3/8 of an inch into it. The width of the tuner housing will put the screw head a little bit off the wood, and you should be okay. I'll put in the screws and then we'll move to the next step. Now it's important, once the screws are all in, go back and make sure they're all tight. They don't have to be exceptionally tight, just snug. You don't want to strip the wood or strip the screw. You just need to be snug enough to hold these babies down. Now obviously it's important that if you have gold hardware that the screws be gold. Likewise, you'll see the same when we move to the body, where we put on the jack plate, the neck plate, and then of course all the screws that hold in the electronics, the pickups, the switch, and then the pick guard itself on the body. All these are fairly tight here, and I think we are good to move to the next step. Alright, thanks for watching. There is our fully prepared peg head. The last thing that'll go on here is a string tree retainer that we'll put on later. That I think we'll put that on right before we string it up.